Minister, I'd like to raise the issue of COVID measures, specifically in education settings. And firstly, I do want to welcome Minister Foley's announcement regarding substitute teachers. But we are 16 days away from 16 school days away from Christmas, when schools will be breaking up anyway. So we need to know the timings. We need to know the timings in terms of substitute teachers. Can teachers expect those substitute teachers to be there from Monday of next week? We need the specifics. There's too many vague announcements that don't get to where the people are on the front line, like the teachers and the staff involved. Parents, students and staff will appreciate the long-awaited recognition of the crisis that they have been battling for weeks now. But more clarity is needed. As I said, more clarity is also needed for the secondary schools on how this will work in practice for them. And I know the ASDI have been calling for that clarity as well. But people shouldn't continuously have to call for clarity. They should be given clear, timely messages. It seems to take some kind of mental gymnastics to accept a crisis with substitute teachers caused by teachers being out sick, and not accept that COVID transmission is a reality in the school setting. You see, things don't add up for people. That's the problem, Minister, and that's why you're losing so many people. And it's absolutely vital that you don't lose that social solidarity across the nation, so that people are always willing to play their part, but they need to see government communicating clearly with them and playing their part as well. And that hasn't been the case heretofore. In fact, it seems like when decisions are finally made, then the government stop to slap themselves on the back and to say, well, everything is grand, didn't we do a great job with this? Where we need timely decisions, like the procrastination is killing people. People are waiting for decisions to be made. I talked to some business people even today in retail and in publicans who tell me that we just want to know. We want to know. We don't want to be taking on staff. We don't want to be bringing in orders. We want clarity around what's happening. So if you have information, Minister, you need to communicate it to people and help them to make sense of things. People will do anything that makes sense to them, but a lot of the things unfortunately don't. But the best way to keep our schools open is to be straightforward with people, particularly the parents and staff, given how much responsibility they are asked to take on. And the government needs to do a number of steps for this. Firstly, you need to look at providing the HEPA standard filters for every classroom or room where children are congregating. It's better to be safe than sorry. And if you're investing in these, Minister, they are going to, hopefully we will come out the other side of COVID at some stage, but people, we know that adequate ventilation and air filtration is not an optional extra. In a COVID pandemic, it's vital to maintaining health and well-being. You have to ask the question, how can teachers be expected to teach and children expected to learn if they're fearful of the environment that they work in? And these would be an investment in schools to bring clean air, regardless of a pandemic, to have clean air within schools. Secondly, the HSE should be given a clearly defined role in contact tracing in the primary school setting. That absolutely has to be done. The changes that were made in September were the wrong changes. Absolutely, things need to be addressed, but we cannot continue on the way they are without the HSE having a clearly defined role there. And they need to know how the antigen tests will work. How will they be distributed? Are they going to be waiting for days for antigen tests? All of these things could be cleared up in a few hours. Thirdly, you need to reverse the decision, or the Minister needs to reverse the decision to remove banked special education hours. Special education hours have been and will continue to be lost without the banking system being brought back in. Children with special educational needs were amongst the biggest losers of the lockdown. Indeed, the Minister launched the class programme in recognition of the impact that lockdown had on their learning development. Yet, in the same breath, she isn't allowing schools to safeguard special education teaching hours. That really needs to be addressed. I would strongly urge the government to look at these 3 points. We have always tried to work constructively on these vitally important issues, and we will continue to do so, Minister. And around third level students who've had a very rough ride throughout COVID. We need also that, you know, they're not prioritised for a return to in-person teaching in the same way as primary and post-primary. And those who are fearful about sitting and in a hall to do exams must be listened to as well. And we must just put these things in place. We must do it quickly, we must do it decisively, and we must communicate clearly. Thank you.